EP25. Here we are at Laughing Vikings Live. It's a Monday fun day as we do every week, 6 p.m. We bumped it back a little. I am, of course, your host, Captain Lars, here at Laughing Vikings. And we got the first mate, Brandon Knox, a.k.a. the BK Broiler in the house. What's up, BK?
Not much, buddy. It was a good weekend. How was yours?
It was very busy, but very fruitful and enjoyable and enlightening. I got sunshine, had a fantastic acting workshop with Todoroff on Saturday. I was at the movie expo all weekend virtually. It was an action-packed, industry-packed, and I got a lot of sunshine, so it was good.
That's great. And you know what? I'm bouncing right now. You know why, Lars?
Why?
Because spring has sprung, baby.
Ooh, it has. Yeah. Was that just this weekend? Was daylight savings
that
just
was
this weekend?
Friday it started. Friday or Saturday?
The 20th, yeah?
Yeah.
Mark Rival says, you are sunshine, bro. Oh, that wasn't it. What happened? I lost his. There he is. Mark Rival. Shout out to Mark Rival here. I'm going to highlight him. There you go. Mark Rival. He's an actor buddy of ours. He says, you are sunshine, bro. Sunshine.
You are.
No,
Lars?
you are, Mark. No, you are, Brandon. You are. And we always talk a little bit about what's going on here and what's new. And you might notice we're wearing a little swag here today. And if you're not noticing this because your ears can't see, then you need to check us out on Facebook, YouTube, or Instagram and see what you're missing in the third dimension here.
Before we bring on our guest, Lars, there is something I wanted to say, and I wanted to. I felt very bad about last week. I didn't wear a fun T-shirt. We always wear fun T-shirts on Monday so that we get ready and in the mood for the week. And I didn't wear one last week, so I'm wearing my bling from Laughing Vikings. And I'm also going to be wearing my bread and butter T-shirt.
Wow.
That I will be draping over myself for the entire episode.
Cool T-shirts are Brandon Knox's bread and butter. See what I did there? Yeah, check this swag. Check this swag out. Look, it's there it is. Logo. Logo. Yeah, there we go. So you're wearing two T-shirts. Thank you. And thank you for not letting me down 2 weeks in a row. We do have a rule. We do two things different at this podcast. One is we stand up so that we can move around. We're not one of those boring sit down podcasts. And we wear cool shirts. And you'll see here, I'm wearing my Laughing Vikings hoodie, but I doubled up today. And I'm also wearing another cool shirt underneath.
Ooh, baby.
Double swag right there.
Double swag Monday.
Not available yet. If you're like, how do I get my hands on this Laughing Viking swag? It is not available. There was 12 pre-run, test shirts that we did. There's a few of those floating out there. So if you're one of those people who has one, then hang on to it for your whole life. It's going to be worth a lot of money someday. But we'll be getting them. We'll be getting them soon. And our guest today might be one of the people who has one of the OG merch, swag/merch. It's I call it smirch is what I call it. We got smirch now, so we're pretty legit. And make sure if you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe on YouTube. We're live on YouTube right now. We're also live on Facebook. But if you're more of an ear type person and you don't like using your eyes, or you're using your eyes for different stuff and you only want to hear us and not see us for some reason, then subscribe on your favorite podcast network. We're on all of them, so you should do that as well. And don't forget to visit laughingvikings.com/links for freebies. And if you're like, freebies? What are you talking about, Lars? We got free comedy albums. We got free comedy tickets. We got free audition sessions here at Laughing Vikings. We'll hook you up with free acting workshop with Tom Todoroff Conservatory out of New York. We got a plethora and a cornucopia of things. A lot of people just have a plethora or a cornucopia. We have a plethoric cornucopia of freebies for you, but you got to go to laughingvikings.com/links to do it. How was that pitch? That was a pretty solid pitch right there.
That was a pretty great pitch.
And if you're like, why should I don't want to just listen to Lars's pitches. If you're like, why should I have to do with Laughing Vikings? It's because we're going to turn your delusions into reality. We're all dreamers here, but now our dreams turn into reality lately. It seems to be how it works. So hop on board and let us know too where you're listening from. In the live comments, let us know what city you're from. Say hello. reach out to us. Last week, we did a live episode, and while we were on the show, the producer of Inside Jokes on Global News AM 640 was watching and booked us all to just go to a radio show the next day. So you never know what's going to happen here. We're bringing.
Yeah, that was incredibly fun to do.
It was. Yeah. Shout out to Inside Jokes and Vince and Dean at Inside Joke
at AM 640.
Check Global News. Yeah, we're not only on the podcast, we're on AM radio. We're everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
We are omnipresent. You basically can't get away from Laughing Vikings now. You're like, oh, these guys again. Oh my God, they're on everything.
We're everywhere.
James Tooby, the Tubinator. I'm going to shout out to James Tooby. He is listening from home right now, and our guest also knows Tubes, the Tubinator. Tube is a fantastic. It's kind of a jack of all trades. I don't even know how to describe him. He's very skilled in film and TV production. Yeah, I guess producer is probably the easiest way to put it. But he was also the sound man at Monday Fun Days when we used to do stand-up comedy shows in person. Jim was the sound man / hype man and was amazing. And we also got Linda Sutar. Hello from Starry TO. That's true. Welcome. Listen. Listen. Yes. So should we let's get to the good stuff here.
Yeah.
You and me every week, but that gets boring for people. So we bring in some high profile celebrity, artist, actor, comedian, creator, influencer, dreamer guests. And today, one of my favorites, she's fantastic. She's one of the highest vibe people we've ever met. To meet her and to know her is to love her. She's an actor. She's a singer. She's a songwriter. Please give it up and welcome. Are we going to bring her on immediately, or are we going to show her a video?
We're going to show the song first. We're going to show the song Simple Woman by Camille Blott, and I'm going to play that right now.
Camille Blott.
Simple woman, I like walks. I like coffee when it's hot. I like sleeping in. I'm a simple woman. I like hugs. I like brightly colored mugs. I like to play pretend. A simple woman. Simple woman. A simple woman. A simple woman. I'm a simple woman. I like pearls. I like shopping with the girls. I like to dine fine. I'm a simple woman. I like seeing live shows. I like new iPhones. I like my jewelry in gold. A simple woman. Simple woman. A simple woman. A simple woman. I'm a simple woman. I like pink Barbie cars. I like LA after dark. I like cruising down the freeway. I'm a simple woman. I like first class. I like my VIP pass. I like my private jet. 'Cause I'm a simple woman. A simple woman. A simple woman. A simple woman. I'm a simple woman. I like walks. I like coffee when it's hot. I like sleeping in.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up all the way from Claresholm, Alberta, Camille Blott, aka Miss Millie B. Bam, 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 bam.
Woo!
Wow. Thank you so much. What an introduction.
Right? We know how to give them around
Thank
here.
you so much. Thank you for sharing the song too, and thanks for the Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, we your comments like up leveled throughout it. First, Daniel said nice voice, and then he was like, correction, great voice. Mark Rival says smooth like butter. There it is. Yeah, nice. Well, welcome,
Thank
welcome,
you.
welcome. How are you doing?
I'm honestly really enjoying today because the sun is shining like you guys are talking about. It's finally spring and it feels so good, and patios are open now in Toronto, and I just feel like everyone's in a really good mood. So I'm happy
Right?
too.
Yeah, and if you're not in a good
Yeah.
mood right now, you got to be asking yourself, like, what the hell are you even doing right now? Why are you not in a good mood? It's Monday Fun Day, and you're
Just
live
go
on
outside and
Facebook or
enjoy the sun.
YouTube. Yeah, get a little vitamin D. Yes, yes. And you're also
Yeah.
joining us now from Toronto. We're all in Toronto here. If you're watching right now and you're you got a comment section, let us know what city you are in. Yeah. What are we hearing? I'm hearing some weird audio there. Any idea what that is? That clicking? Is that somebody choppy?
Yeah.
What's
I
happening
don't
there?
know if it's
Yeah.
you or me.
Yeah. Brandon, are you
I
there?
definitely
Yeah,
hear
I'm
it
still
as
here.
well.
All right. Well, we just got to power through. One of these things is when you're live, you never know what's going to happen. Sometimes you get what we call a little TD, little technical diffs.
Yeah.
And you just got to roll with it. Mark Rival says he's from Aurora. So, yes. Yeah, there's some weird audio. I don't know. Like, it sounds like somebody clicking on a laptop the whole time, but I think it's just fuzz. I don't know. Do you hear it, Brandon?
Yeah, I hear it.
Or am I just talking about something that I should be ignoring right now? Hey, if you just tuned in, we're talking about technical
No, I hear it.
difficulties right now. Let's spend for the next hour. This is actually a planned segment. And technical difficulties. Pretty good. Daniel Hope here. This is the great thing about our listeners. Daniel Hope from Georgia, USA. He says it might be her data bandwidth. I don't know. Could be my data bandwidth. Could be Brandon's. We don't know what's happening right now. He says she cleared up a bit. James Tooby says he's in the lieu of water. I mean Waterloo. Gotcha. Hey, James. All right. How you sound? Well, we really have no option. So if things sound weird right now for whatever reason, then we apologize. But you're gonna love it anyways. And you're just gonna be like, man, I love that episode so much, and I love Miss Millie B so much. Now I want to hear where there's not audio issues, and you can go follow her more.
Let me
Mark
try
Rival
and just
says,
plug in my headphones really quick.
Mark Rival says hardly noticeable now. Yeah, it might be feedback. It might be me hearing. We might be hearing me through you. But don't worry, Brandon. We're gonna edit this in post. Wink, wink, wink.
I got you.
Stand by. In the meantime, if you haven't done it already, hit up Miss Millie B at Miss Millie B on Instagram or Facebook right now, wherever you want to do that.
You can also check out her song "Simple Woman" on YouTube. It's great. I really enjoyed that song.
Yeah, you have a killer voice.
Did that make it any better or worse?
I think you sound more clear right now. Do you? Now we have a little static as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's okay.
We're
you know
past
what?
that.
We'll power through it.
We're past that. This
Yeah.
ain't the big leagues. This is the fucking podcast on Facebook Live. Ooh, that's nasty. Is there anyone else's ears bleeding? Episode 25. This is the episode 25, the ear bleeding episode, except for Camille's songs. That was the one part. That's what we like to do. We like to give you sweet stuff for your ears, immediately hammered by razor blades for your ears. Is how we do things. We're very up and down that way. Daniel says, sounds good now. Okay. All right. Let's forget any of that ever happened. And you're probably never going to hear that again because we're going to delete it and we're going to pick it up clean. So here we have Miss Millie B. Miss Millie B. Camille, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me on the show.
Perfect. Right? That was flawless. We did it. So we should address something. You, of course, are Laughing Vikings director of good vibes, unofficially, but officially. And I don't know how long we've known each other now, a year and a half. Yeah, there you go. We've known each other for
Got
like
my
a year and a
t-shirt.
half, and every time I see you, and anytime anyone ever sees you, you're fully positive, you're vibrant, you're bringing joy and love to like I in my head, if you were a cartoon character, you'd be like some kind of like a star mixed with a rabbit, like some kind of like space rabbit bunny, like more like a bunny, but like you just spread around singing and spreading like hope and cheer and positive vibes to people, and maybe handing out coffee,
Aw,
sweet stuff or something.
thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, you
My
are.
roommate,
Yeah.
we just my roommate told me that if I was a holiday, I would be Valentine's Day because I love love.
You do. Yes. Yes. She loves love. Let us know in the comments if you also love love. And if you don't, what is wrong with you? Love is one of the best things to love. And so we want to introduce everyone to you. They sort of know you a little bit, but we have a special segment here. So, ladies and gentlemen, listeners and viewers, Laughing Vikings Live, episode 25, we present to you Camille Blott's 1 minute story. And go.
Okay, so my name is Camille Blott. I was born and raised in rural southern Alberta in a tiny town called Classington. And I fell in love with singing and acting when I was 4 or 5 years old. I did lots of community theater growing up. Shout out to my parents for driving me around to all the different theaters in southern Alberta. In high school, I decided that I would study music theater. So I studied music theater performance at St. Clair College in Windsor, Ontario. I moved to Ontario as soon as I graduated high school, did my 3 years there, and then as soon as I graduated from there, I moved to Toronto. I worked professionally in theater for a year, and then I wanted to try out film and television, and since then I've been doing lots of on-camera work, film, television, commercial, hosting, online streaming, you name it, and now songwriting as well. So I've been at it for a while, but it keeps evolving as I go.
Well done.
Nailed it. Another
Thank you.
flawless 1 minute life story.
Mhm.
Wow.
and
Yeah, that was pretty good.
We have really upped the production value with the little sound effect there. Nice work, producer Brandon.
Hey,
Yeah,
anytime.
that's fun.
That's what I do.
Great. That was great. While you were doing it, were you like, how much time do I have left?
Yeah, I was like, I'll just keep talking, and I hope that I land on a button. And I think that was kind of a good button. So
Nailed it.
It was a great button. Yeah.
That is going to be a clean social media piece right there. That's going
yeah.
viral. That's going
Yay.
viral. Now, and be sure, listeners and or viewers, you're watching us live right now. If you got any questions throughout the episode for us and or Camille, let them know and we'll highlight it and bring you into the conversation. But we got a few questions locked and loaded for you, Miss Millie B.
Okay.
First of all, I want to talk a little bit about the generally the director of good vibes vibe with you. Sort of explain to people how you feel and how you think and how you go about your life doing that kind of thing.
Yeah, of course. So, good vibes and your vibe attracts your tribe. Maybe something that sounds really cheesy, but honestly, it's something that I unconsciously lived by for a really long time. I'm lucky. My mom was always really positive and she always set a really positive example. And both my parents were always, they really believed in me and they were always really uplifting. So I never, it was kind of ingrained in me to just stay positive and that everything was always going to work out. So even when times were tough, I'm really grateful. My mom was always really optimistic and I've carried that with me and I became really aware of that mindset when I moved to Toronto and I started talking with other actors and just seeing the difference in, having a really positive mindset about, an abundance of opportunities and gigs and, maybe you didn't book this one, but you'll book the next one. And just how much like your energy can affect a casting room or the people that you come in contact with. I noticed that there was like a big difference between me and maybe some other actors who, were having a hard time. And then I realized how powerful what the good vibe is, which is a positive mindset and how it can really shift your career. So I find that, even if I'm on a dry spell or whatever is going on, I always try to find a positive spin, because it keeps you going in an industry that can be, you know, what people call like really hard, or like breaks you down, or like they use like really negative terms like that. But I think if you have fun and you stay in the present moment, and you practice gratitude for the opportunities that you do have, I feel like it's such a key part of this industry. And honestly, any industry and any career and any aspect of your life. So I really do believe in good vibes.
Boom. That was another flawless answer right there. You are dishing out the sound bites, throwing out straight fire right now. No, you're amazing. We love you, and you're always, I've spent tons of time with you, and you really never bring anything negative to the situation. I mean, we all have our little moments and we have our ups and downs, but generally, like, you're always bringing positivity and love, and you're making situations better everywhere you go. And you're bringing a good, I would say, what does Tony Robbins call it? A beautiful state. You're often in a beautiful state, which is nice. So we appreciate you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. And you are, I don't know how we make it official, but can we make the director of Good Vibes for Laughing Vikings official somewhere?
Yes, I would love it to be official.
Do I have to offer you a salary for that? Can it be official and unpaid in the beginning, or how about official?
Yeah.
It'll be official and on commission. So we'll work something out. Yeah, it's a partnership.
I do it for the good of my heart. It's the love.
No, if you've ever been to Laughing Vikings, we have a few whiteboards around in the back room where we usually do the auditions, and a couple out front. And initially, she's just started to do it. So when she was at the studio, she would just do it. She'd just grab a pen or a dry erase marker and start doodling and write. She'd like write flowers and little stars and like gratitude and like go for it and like live your life and all these things. And I love that stuff. But then I started asking her. So like every once in a while, you'll come by the studio and I'll know you're coming and I'll wipe them clean. I'll be like, look, it's a fresh clean slate. So yeah, the one says, I'll read one right now. It says, the future is in your hands. You just have to plant the seeds. And it says, growth mindset is the key. And it says, live life unleashed. Then it says, yesterday. And then it says, tomorrow. And then in the middle, it says, big bold letters, now. Right now. Yeah, so thank you. Brandon, you have a question. Let's talk about how you got into acting and things like that. So Brandon, you cue one up here for her.
Yeah, Camille, what we're always interested in here at this Laughing Vikings Live is, what was your very first paid gig?
Right. Okay. So I was actually super blessed. I fell into a wonderful opportunity right after I graduated from music theater performance. I got a professional paid gig in a professional theater show. So it was a really amazing opportunity, and something that I don't know, you just can't really compare it to anything else. It was really awesome. But I was playing a puppy. I was playing a singing, dancing puppy, and it was a very family oriented show. And the core message was all about love, actually, and how love and music and peace and gratitude can heal you. And it was such a beautiful message. And I honestly wish I could go back and do it all over again from where I'm at now, where I appreciate those things so much more. And I'm so much more aware of it. It was really amazing. So that was my very first paid gig right out of theater school. And then my first paid television gig, or on camera, I should say, was a commercial. And it was the first, I got an agent, I got my first agent, I got my first audition, and then I booked my first commercial. And I was like, okay, coming in hot. And it was so funny because the role that I booked was actually for a barista in a cafe, which, if you don't know, that's my day job. So I go to wardrobe and they put me in a black apron and they tie my hair back and I just look like I'm at work. And then I go to set and I, hand somebody a terminal. I'm like, okay, that'll be $2.32. And I'm like, wow, this is what I do every day. I've really been training for this one. Too awesome. My first theater gig and my first commercial gig were both really awesome experiences.
Amazing.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
you have a very, I mean, from the get-go, you had a very high batting average. And I feel like you booked your first 2 out of 3 auditions or 3 out of 4. And now you probably
Yeah, like
still,
everything.
you probably still are like sitting 50% or something like that. Like you
Yeah, I
you
would
booked
say
very
the
high.
ratio is really high. I would attribute that to like not taking, I think this is something that has always been really instilled in me, is to not take any opportunity or anything for granted. So even in school, for example, you know, some of my peers maybe would skip class. They're like, oh, like, I don't want to sit in that class again. But I've always just like every opportunity I have to learn or to apply myself or to perform or to do something, like I am all in. And that is just like has always been my mentality. Even since I was young, I was in community theater at a really young age, and I was so into it, no matter like how big the role or what the song was or whatever, like how big, how small. And I think it's the same with auditions. And like I just bring like so much energy and passion into auditions. And I think like that's why, honestly, like if you're looking for a good tip, like I feel like that's why I have a good booking ratio, because it's like if you prepare for like the small things as much as you would prepare for the really big things, it's gonna set you up really well.
Yeah, and I think you and I have a very similar mentality and philosophy, and I think it's part of the reason that we get along and vibe really well too in general in life. But I think we both, when it's something that we're going for, we both act and sort of believe and carry ourselves like we've booked it already. Like it's like an audition. An audition done is an audition booked, even though the reality is we know it doesn't shake down like that. But I'm acting and treating and carrying myself like if I'm going for something, I'm going for it because I intend and plan to get it. And from first audition to second audition, like to call back, I'll still run stuff. A lot of people throw it aside, but I still run stuff like I'm going to get the call back. And then when I get the call back, I'm like, I booked this, and I'm stacking and adding layers and honing it and making it better and better. But from the beginning, thinking, yeah, I'm going for this. Otherwise, what are you doing? It's like nobody's impressed by someone who doesn't even want to play. Like you're a player, you're a gamer is the bottom line.
Yeah, and that goes back to the good vibes and the good energy and the positive mindset, because I feel like I've met a lot of actors who they go into an audition and there's no way they're gonna book it because they don't even believe they're gonna book it. So they say, yeah, like, this isn't right for me, or it's just for fun, or well, who cares, or this casting director hates me, or whatever. Right. But if you go into it with a mindset, I have documents on my computer, and this is maybe this is over the top, but this works for me. I literally type out how I'm going to book XYZ, this audition, how I'm going to book this gig. And I write it out. I'm like, I show up, I'm like on time. I look like this. I play the part. I write it out, because if you don't believe that you're going to book it, you're definitely not going to book it. So a lot of it comes down to just believing in yourself enough to go for it too.
Yeah, I used to keep a journal as well. And what I would do is I would give myself a grade for how the audition went and write down notes that what I wanted to improve, what I wanted to try and do next time. If I saw this casting director again, how would I behave? How would I act? And like, you got to keep that in mind for when you're going in for something.
That's an awesome tactic. I would do that too.
Could I have worn a cooler shirt? You got to ask yourself that every once in a while.
Can I wear more than one shirt? And how many shirts can I wear?
Yeah. And it's funny you mentioned that, Camille, about that little self-sabotage. We don't see it as much anymore, but that is something that I really noticed from running audition sessions here at the studio, is people come in and they don't even realize it. It's very insidious, or it's because it's kind of masked as a lot of different things, but people will come in and be like, oh, the writing, or I'm not really right for this, or I just got it last minute, or it's basically all these self-sabotage excuses, even though you're not thinking I'm sabotaging myself. It's all these reasons why you might not get it, which then lets yourself off the hook from not going all out for it. And then it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy where you're just like, well, I didn't give my all, and then I didn't get it. Of course. Yeah. Why didn't I get it? Oh, it's shitty writing, my agent, I'm not right for it. I just got it last minute, blah, 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 blah. It's all bullshit.
Exactly.
I should get mad at people when they say anything like that. There's a couple actors that come here and Go ahead.
Like gratitude. Stay grateful for like every opportunity. Like it's an opportunity for you to show off
Right.
what you've got. Like every audition, it's not just about like getting the audition is exciting. Like get excited about getting the audition. It's not just about booking the role, because you know how many people were even submitted and then didn't ever get the opportunity to audition. So just staying grateful for the opportunities that you get.
Yeah, it's like that old saying is like your current you is doing things that you 5 years ago or 10 years ago would have fucking dreamed, would have blown your mind, and then we sort of take it for granted or blow it off. Yeah, so anytime people come to here to the studio and are any inkling like that, I'm like I almost shake it out of them. Like, don't tell me, like, don't pay me to help you to do something that you've already decided you're not going to be able to do, because then I feel like an idiot. It's like, why you're just wasting all our time and I'm taking your money. That's no good, you know?
Yeah.
All right. Scotty Murray, speaking of actors here with positive attitudes, Scotty Murray says, hi, guys. Scotty was just here literally before we started the podcast. He was the last actor to leave Laughing Vikings, and we did an amazing, super fun. I don't think we can say what it was for, but it was amazing. It was one of those auditions where he sort of gets to play two parts in one thing. It was great. Shout out to you, Scotty Murray. And we have a question here from, this is an interesting one. We have a question from David and Wendy Gross. And David Gross, one of my favorite people and most influential people of all time. We've never talked to him about it on the podcast, but I have told him this in person. Mr. Gross, as I can't even call him David because it seems weird, but Mr. Gross was my... what grade would it have been? He was my volleyball coach in high school, but I think it first started in grade 10, either grade 10 or 11, and has been one of the most influential people in my life, because he was one of the very first people, and it's a brilliant coaching tactic / life strategy, is very like day one or like week one of tryouts. He said something to me, he kind of pulled me aside. Maybe it wasn't even aside. He did it in front of everyone, and he pointed me out and said, you're going to be one of the county's best players. And essentially what he always did to us is he talked to us like we were already champions at the beginning of the season. So literally from practice one, our entire season was mapped out until the championship. And we were all treated like we were MVPs and championship players. So shout out to you, Mr. Gross. I can't even call you David. I believe he's retired now and he's still killing it. And he was borderline, looked like an Olympian when he was our coach too. So literally all through high school, when he was our volleyball teacher and coach, he was also the best volleyball player in the room at all times. So he'd just be crushing balls at us. So I really appreciate that. And I'm glad that you're tuned in. But answer the question, what is your ultimate goal? Let's throw that to Camille, our guest right here. I'm going to assume it's for you.
Okay, that's a really great question. It's also a tricky one to answer. I find that it's changed. Changed. It always has the same vein. It's always to do with performance, and performance on a large scale where I can reach a lot of people, where I can have a big impact, where I can share my storytelling on a grand scale. So for what I mean by it's changed is maybe when I was in high school, it was, I want to be on Broadway. And then I went through a phase where I'm like, nah, like forget theater. I want to be, a movie star. And then it was like, movies? No way. I want to be on all the Netflix series. And now I've been really into singing and songwriting. And I'm like, oh, I want to tour. Like I want to have my own, my concerts around the world. And it's funny that you say that, because I just had a conversation. My best friend, Jonathan, we're very similar, which is why we get along. We're both very ambitious and really, he's very positive too and outgoing and just has such an expansive mindset. And he's got me beat, because he's got all of that stuff that he wants to do. Plus he wants to be an Olympic figure skater and a professional swimmer. And he has so many big dreams. And we had this conversation about why do we have to limit it to one thing? Why do we say, I just want just this? I want to be on Broadway. Because then what happens? You get to Broadway and then what? You're done? So I really love to look to celebrities and to performers who have, EGOTs. They've got an Emmy and a Grammy and an Oscar and a Tony, and they do it all Ben Platt's a really good example. He's been on Broadway, then he got his own Netflix show. He's released all his own original music. Now he's starring in the Dear Evan Hansen movie. So I don't want to ever limit myself. I want to do it all. Film, television, Broadway, music. And don't anyone ever limit yourself to one goal.
So the short answer, Mr. Gross, is she wants total domination.
Yeah.
Complete world domination. Now, and if you haven't checked her music, please follow her at Miss Millie B. So used to saying at Laughing Vikings. I almost said at Laughing Vikings, but follow us too. And and we played one of her songs. We're gonna play a song later, but right now we did a little digging into the archives, and we actually have one of those first paid gigs, one of your very first commercials. And you might spot Miss Millie B here playing, I believe, a little egg, I believe. You got it queued up there, BK Broiler?
I hope so.
All right.
Ready, and?
Cue the reel. Oh, no, that's not it.
Oh, which one are we playing?
Got it. We're going to play her commercial.
You have that queued up?
Oh, maybe we don't. All right.
I sent it to you, Lars.
Well, there we go. Maybe we don't have it.
Well, actually, I really want to kind of continue on the ultimate goal question for just a little bit, because Lars, I'm actually excited to hear, what is your ultimate goal?
I think it's very similar to what Camille just said. I do stand up, I do acting, I dabble in music, and I want to do all those things. And I want to do them at a top level. I think it's to be amongst the masters and to be in the big leagues, no matter what you're doing. But that means continual growth and continual striving. It's like, you get to the point where you win an Oscar, then what? Well, do you win a second Oscar, or do you start a charity, or do you flip to stage and start doing Tony stuff? It's like you just want to do whatever you're doing at the max competitive level, where you're constantly growing and constantly challenging yourself. And presumably that if you're doing something at a level of mastery, then one of the byproducts eventually is probably a lot of money and or a lot of recognition. But I don't think probably shouldn't be doing it strictly for the celebrity or the recognition or anything strictly for money. But if you're doing something that you love and you're fucking killing it at it, then you're probably going to be rewarded handsomely or prettily for that. So
Nice.
Yes.
That's fantastic.
You know what? I don't know that maybe I didn't properly cue that up. But let's move on to the next question, because the next question relates to the other video. We talked about your first paid gigs, but that's paid, again, isn't really what it's about. You didn't get started so that you'd be like, oh, one day I'm going to be an actor and so I can book a commercial. What was it? When was it in your life that you got the itch for the stage?
So early. So I thought that my first ever performance was, I remember I really liked singing, and there was one singing teacher in my town, because I come from a town of 3,000 people, and I begged my mom, I'm like, please put me in singing lessons, and she did. And I remember my very first recital, I was actually looking for a video of this because I really wanted to see it. I sang When Somebody Loved Me from Toy Story, that the little cowgirl Jessie sings. When somebody loved me, everything was beautiful. And I was wearing like a little cowgirl costume, and I remember like sitting on the stage with my knee propped up and leaning on it and singing When Somebody Loved Me. And I thought that was my first ever performance when I was 8 years old. But then I was looking through the archives, because I'm so blessed. My dad documented everything in my childhood. There is so many videos and photos of me and my brother and my sister. It's absolutely insane. And he converted all of it to digital. So while I was looking for that video, I actually found the first ever stage performance, which you guys have queued up, which is awesome. And I was 4 years old, and it was a dance recital, and I saw the footage and I was like laughing and crying. I had never seen this before, and I have no recollection of it because I was only 4 years old. So it was a dance recital at a little theater called the Empress Theater in Fort McLeod.
And I believe we're going to take a look right now. We have it.
Yes, we are.
Called your mom and dad, and we got the archives.
So this is the start of it right here. And And there we go.
There it is.
Huge.
And that video is extra funny because my dad, so I clipped that together because there was so much footage. I just made it into a minute. But at the end there, I twirled and blew a kiss, but there was footage from the dress rehearsal, and I didn't do that. They were like, Camille, and I came up and I just did a normal bow. But then for the actual performance, I'm like, I'm going to twirl and blow a kiss. So I really
Nice.
knew how to take my moment, even at 4.
Yeah, I love that. I love how you had that locked and loaded. You're like, I know
Oh,
what's
yeah.
gonna win them over. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, nobody else. And then the other thing that I love, and we talked about this, was in the first segment when you're sort of in the hallway with your mom and dad, and then you say, "Let me go get the costume." Then you kind of hopped away, didn't you? Like you hopped like a bunny rabbit.
I bounced. And then my mom,
Yeah.
when she saw that, she messaged me and she even said, she's like, notice how you bounced out. She's like, that you hopped everywhere. Like you hopped and skipped. She's like, you never walked anywhere.
See,
I
a
didn't
little
even
love
realize
bunny.
that. I am.
Yeah, Camille, Miss Millie B, the love bunny. Yes, that was amazing. All right, let's move forward here, Brandon. What do you think here? What do you got locked and loaded for?
Yeah. So, Camille, what I'm always very interested in is you've done a lot of training in music, dance, acting. I want to know what stuck with you through the years and what exercises do you do to get yourself ready for an audition, for a performance? What makes you get into the mindset and ready to perform? And can you show us that exercise?
Okay, that's fun. Okay, I like that. So one thing that this came up to me recently because I was thinking about that performance at the Empress Theater, and it was bringing back all these memories. And when I was 16, I played Anne in Anne of Green Gables at the Empress Theater, and I was directed by a wonderful woman named Erin Henderson, and she was so talented and so knowledgeable. And the character Anne in Anne of Green Gables is very outgoing, and she's precocious, and she's loud, and she has no filter, basically. And she gets a lot of laughs. Like, a lot of laughs. She's funny. And I remember before opening night, the director coming up to me and she said, Camille, like, don't play it to the audience so much, okay? And like, she was being really sweet. But I didn't know what she meant because I'm like, what do you mean? Like, it's for the audience. Like, give the audience what they want. But, and then, so I didn't really know what to make of it. And I remember telling my mom, I'm like, I'm so confused. Like, isn't that the point of theater? Is like, you know, you play for the audience. Then fast forward to my first week of music theater performance school. And I got that same note in kind of a different wording from one of the directors at the school who I respect so much and respect his opinion so much. And he taught me so much. And he kind of said something the same and was like, he's like, just stay like there, you know, stay grounded. Like, it's not, don't play it to the audience. You're playing it to the audience. And I was still so confused. Then I saw on video we filmed this performance. And then I was like, oh, don't do that. So I think that there's a fine line between, like, you know, you want the laughs, you want the tearjerker moments, you want the audience involved. But if you're thinking so much about like what the audience is thinking, you're not in the moment, like you're not present. And I really like that note has changed my acting performance so much because now I don't think about that. I do not think about the audience or the casting director or whoever is watching when I go into any sort of a performance. I think about being in the present moment. And I feel like that is so much more important than like trying to like play something or be something or make people laugh, because you can really see through it. And once I saw that performance, I was like, oh, like I see through it. And coming from a theater background, it was kind of hard to untrain that, but just becoming conscious of it and like especially moving into film and television, now I see myself on camera so much more and I'm like, oh yeah, I do that still. So that's something that I always try to remind myself to do, is to ground myself. And then something I was thinking about this too, about So you said, like, how do you like get into a performance? And honestly, like, I've never been one, like, even if I'm about to go on for a really serious scene or it's something really dramatic and I need to, you know, be in the moment, I've never been one to get really quiet and serious. Like, I'll be laughing and talking and chatting with whoever right until, you know, the curtains open or the camera's rolling. I've never been an actor that like really has to do like anything method to try to get into the moment. So I would definitely say what works the best for me is to just keep things light and fun and just stay like really positive and like in the present moment and not get in your head and not think about the audience, and just like when the camera's rolling or when the curtain's up, it's like you're there. That's it. That's my strategy.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I know for me, I like to do I like to sit in the audience and create my relationship with the stage. And I do that by cycling through 4 songs. The first one always changes depending on the show, depending on the mood I'm in that day, depending on everything. And the 3 other songs stay exactly the same always. And like, I just try and that's how I create a relationship with the stage and how it gets me there. And so like that's something I relate to a lot there. It's like simple, very grounded. I'm sitting in the audience. I'm developing my relationship with the stage. And then as soon as those songs are done, I'm out and I'm ready to go.
What are your
Another
3
thing
songs?
that I'd love to mention really quick. Can I mention one more thing?
Sorry. Yeah. In one sec. What are your 3 songs?
I honestly have never revealed them to anyone, and I am not going to reveal them here today.
Secret
Nice. Top secret.
If I figured them out, would you say yes or no?
Yes, I would. I would, but you would have to figure them out real fast. And I doubt you'll actually get it. You'll probably get 1 or 2, but maybe I doubt you'll get all of them.
Nice. All right. Well, that was very unsatisfying. You were going to say Miss Millie B.
Yeah. One more thing that I would recommend to any actor, singer, performer, whatever, that like helps me so much, and I just can't put enough emphasis on it, is that like here I am, I'm saying like, yeah, I just like drop into it. I snap my fingers. The rehearsal process and prep, I take so seriously. Like if you look at scripts that I have and notes, it's like every beat, every second is accounted for. Why I'm, especially theater, like this, like, oh, like it just drilled into me. Like, why are you entering the room? Why are you saying this line? Why are you leaving? When are you leaving? What are you doing? And like just having like so much insane confidence and so much preparation in my back pocket, it allows me to then just say, okay, I'm here, and then drop into it. If you're like still trying to like kind of even you can be off book and still not be 100%. So I think like for actors, preparation is so important because you don't have to think about all the other stuff. You don't have to think about the props or where you're moving or the sound cue or whatever. Like it is in your body and you can just drop into the moment. And theater really taught me that. I'm so grateful for theater. It just made me such a hard worker.
I love that. Yes. And then, so those were great tips and great pointers. And your high school teacher had a great point of, he's like, Camille, you don't need to wink at the audience after every single line, you know?
Yeah, totally.
Not every line. You're like, say a line.
And I was so confused. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, isn't that the point? Isn't it supposed to be funny?
Well, yeah, for a kid to hear that, like, don't play to the audience. You're like, what? You want me to face the back wall, or what? Like, what do you want me to do here? Like,
yeah, I appreciate that teacher because she saw a lot in me, so she brought me to the next level. She wasn't like, oh, like you're a funny little teenager. She was like, hey, like, be serious. Like, this is what a professional actor would do. And I was confused, but
right.
I'm grateful many years later for the lesson.
Yes.
I love how Matt's holding on that image. So moving on, Camille, I'm also very interested. Do you have any special skills that you have on your resume? And can you demonstrate them for us today?
I have a perfect example, actually, because this has been on my resume forever and has yet to come in handy. However, I knew the day would inevitably come, and last month I booked my first commercial of 2021 with this skill, and that skill is knife skills. I am really unusually expert at chopping fruit and vegetables and dicing and peeling and slicing because my first ever job, I was 14 years old in the back of a Sobeys grocery store. And you know how you can go to the grocery store and there's pre-made fruit trays and fruit salads? I was doing that for like 20 hours a week from age 14 until 18 when I graduated high school. So I have exceptional knife skills, and I also do like work in a cafe right now, so I'm very comfortable with food and with cooking. And there was a casting call and it said seeking, you know, people with knife skills, food handling skills, food prep skills. And I was like, I have got this in the bag. Like, I knew it. And for my audition, I don't know if I can show you because I don't have a knife here, but I was like chopping. This is a hairbrush. Chopping. And I was going so hard, and they were like, "Wow, you're really good," because I was doing it, but I was also improvising, and it was over Zoom, which is always kind of weird still. But I was improvising over Zoom and not chopping my fingers off, and yeah, I booked it. So that's a special skill that finally came into use.
Yay!
Yeah,
I actually have nice skills as well. I was a butcher and cutter for a long time, and then I worked at a restaurant. Although my chopping skills are garbage. So I'm sure you're far better at that. You're welcome.
What's your specialty knife skill then? If hers is chopping, what's yours? What's it called?
I'm good at trimming the.
Oh no.
I'm good at cutting them in half as well. That's also something. I'm decent at chopping. I'm just not the best at it. And like with butchery, you have bigger slabs of things, so like you're kind of able to like get by. And especially at Costco, they had a machine where you put the meat through it and it sliced it for you.
Fun fact, I do not have knife skills. As shown, I don't know if we can get in there real close. I have a scar, right? Do you see that scar? That's a knife scar on my thumb. So quick story. I was about 10 years old, maybe 9 or 10, and I really wanted to carve the pumpkin. I was like, can we carve the pumpkin? Can we carve it? Can we carve it? But whatever age, maybe I was a little younger because I was too young to be handling a knife by myself. I didn't want to wait. So I didn't wait. So I kind of snuck upstairs and I grabbed what I thought would be the knife that you would do to carve a pumpkin. But I grabbed like the biggest, like the largest, like, I don't even know what it was, steak knife or some like a giant carving knife, like something you cut roast beef with. And so I went downstairs to the laundry room. I jabbed it right in the top. Like, I don't know how to do this. So how do I start it? Just like stabbed it right in the top, but then it wouldn't come out. It was stuck in there. Yeah. So I put my one hand here on the top of the pumpkin, and then I'm like yanking, and I pull it out, and it sliced my thumb, and immediately, like with my pulse, blood shoots, squirts in a line off the wall, off white linoleum in the laundry room, and I'm like, Mom! And my mom's upstairs, and like she hears like the scream where you instantly know something horrible is wrong. She runs downstairs, and there's already like there's like blood squirts. It's like it looks like Psycho in our all white. Like all the cabinets were white, the floors were white. It looked like it was like scene from American Psycho, where he has like the cleanest place, and then it's covered in blood. And I have this little scar to show for it, all because of my impatience.
I can't believe I never heard that story before.
Yeah, well, I buried it deep with my skeletons in the closet.
Wow, I am learning new things about you.
I actually I cut the tendons. You can actually feel like a ball of what do you call it, scar tissue. But I cut the tendon. I cut in so deep that they had to like cut me again to peel back a flap, to then operate on the tendon itself. Like they put stitches in the tendon to tie it together so that I would still have use of my thumb. Like I'd cut this tendon. So I just like my last knuckle didn't do anything. Yeah, horrifying. Look at that face on Brandon right there. He's like,
Yeah, that's gross.
Like, oh my God.
by the way, just a quick impromptu section. We like to do this every episode with all of our guests. But Camille, as guest, look at Brandon's picture and tell us what you think you see.
Oh, a squid was the first thing I saw. Like the front is like a little eye, and then the back is like the squid head, and there's like some sort of like tentacles. But it's a little, kind of the longer I look at it, it keeps changing. But if I had to go with first reaction, it was squid.
Hell of a guess. Brandon somehow claims that it's Woody Woodpecker. I suggested Woody Woodpecker after he blew his brains out on the wall. And
no, I see Woody now.
Thank
Daniel-
you. Crayfish. Who are you, Daniel?
Daniel Hope says it's a crayfish. And
Yeah, I see
Paul
that.
Renshaw says clap clap. Yes, I think that's a little
you,
later.
Paul.
He's had clap clap earlier, but shout out to Paul Renshaw as well, who's
It
another
counts
filmmaker.
now. He's clapping my painting.
Clap clap. Daniel Hope says LOL. I feel like it's kind of a Rorschach test where people, like, depending on how fucked up you are mentally, what you see is happier or worse. I don't know.
Right.
Where'd you fall on that one, Camille?
I think squids are pretty nice. Yeah.
Yeah, squids are nice. Yeah, I go.
They discovered the colossal squid, and that's fun.
How big is it?
I believe. I want to say 100 feet, but I know that's wrong. Because it's like they basically confirmed that like giant squids exist, but there's already like a classification of giant squids that are smaller than the colossal squid. But they live so deep in the ocean that they like have only discovered them a couple of years ago.
Yeah, they live 20,000 leagues under the sea. They live. Nice. So special skills. That's knife skills. I like that. Both of you. Yeah, Brandon's a butcher. Now, do you want to share a production? Obviously, you've done lots of things now: music, theater, TV, film, commercials. What's a production that really has sat with you that you really had a lot of fun, or just something that you're never going to forget? What's an indelible moment in your career so far?
Wow. Honestly, the Anne of Green Gables thing, and why? Anne of Green Gables was so, honestly, like, there's so many, especially though, I think the ones that I did growing up they really shaped me. They gave me a lot of sense of responsibility. They gave me a sense of work ethic. They gave me a sense of community, because it was community theater. So when my first big role that I booked was Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz, and it was so amazing and so fun, and I couldn't believe how much I loved the process and sitting down and learning music. Then I got to do Peter Pan. I was Peter Pan in Peter Pan at the Lethbridge Yates Theater, which is actually a really beautiful theater, and my parents would drive me 2 hours every rehearsal to go and rehearse, and I would be rehearsing and working and staying on top of school, and it just really, like, it showed me how much I loved it, because I never showed up unprepared. I never, I was really young, but I was doing these big shows, and I would say the beginning stages were just so fun and special to me. Like, those days of music theater really, really shaped the performer that I am today. And then the last one was Anne and Anne of Green Gables. I did those 3 shows back to back, and I was just on a high. Like, it was so much fun. And I've been finding myself actually really missing theater a lot lately, since theater has been closed. We found out that the Lower Ossington Theater in Toronto has permanently closed as of yesterday. And obviously the Merge is closed, Broadway's closed, so I've been really itching to do some theater lately. But yeah, those would be the most important experiences to me, because they really shaped me.
Wait, hang on. Theater's closed? What happened?
Yeah, COVID.
So let me take you back a year.
Oh, no, I've been digital the whole time. I've been on podcasts the whole time. I didn't even notice. Yeah. Great.
Aw.
That's great. That's so Canadian. That's about as Canadian as it gets. Anne of Green
Mhm.
Gables, I think. And we have
I
a
know.
Wizard of Odd connection. Last week, our guest, for our listeners who are staying on top of things, our guest, a fellow Laughing Vikinger here, Kat Vitkoff, her first on stage in school was playing one of the flying monkeys in Wizard of Oz. And
Oh,
you were
that's fun.
Dorothy as
That's
well,
really
too.
fun.
That's hilarious. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Do you remember any of your lines from Anne of Green Gables?
Yeah.
Hit us with some. Bring us back.
Oh my gosh. Oh, here was the line. Here was the line that I love to say. So, Gilbert Blythe is Anne's rival, and it's the first day of school, and he pulls on her. She has the iconic pigtails, right? He pulls on the pigtail, and he says something like, "Hey, carrots, I'm talking to you." And I had this prop chalkboard, so it looked like a legit chalkboard, but it was already kind of pre-broken, and it was just like a really thin piece of wood. And I turn around and I go, "You mean, hateful boy!" And I take the chalkboard and I smash it over the top of his head, and it makes a really loud crack sound, and it breaks over his head. And every night, like, everyone just loves that part. And I was just so over the top, and I was like, "You mean, hateful boy!" So, and another line that my dad always loved, he was like, "Oh, I don't know how that witch could be so mean to you," in Wizard of Oz, when the witch has me locked in her tower. And I go, "How could anyone be so nasty, mean, and cruel?" And I'm like, and then I like fall to the ground and start crying. So it's always the big drama lines that I really liked. I have so many like random theater lines in my brain, to be honest, so I'll just leave it at those two.
You're like,
Those are both great.
Brandon's like, "Do you remember any of the lines?" And she just launches into the whole script.
Yeah, I could. I honestly probably could. I won't.
It's nice. So yeah, those are very iconic shows. And speaking of very iconic shows, we've been bouncing something around. One of my favorite shows of all time on stage and musical theater is The Phantom of the Opera. And I don't know if I've ever told you this, Camille. I know Brandon and I have chatted about it, but I have, and this ties into Ultimate Goal. One of the Ultimate Goal, like little hobby side projects that I want to do is I feel like The Phantom of the Opera is amazing. It's incredible. It's run for a long, long time. But what was the Phantom doing when he wasn't at the opera? Presumably, he didn't spend his whole life at the Phantom. So I want to write and pitch. We're still working and we're really just spitballing this right now. It's not like we have anything polished or anything, but I want to write Phantom of the blank scenarios, and let's move the Phantom to other locations. And the one that like just off the top here would be Phantom of the Library.
Oh,
The Phantom of the Library is here inside your mind. Read for me, Christine. Right?
I love it. It's all there.
Yeah. And maybe a little like, maybe something like some elaborate song relating to the Dewey Decimal System. The Dewey Decimals inside my brain, right?
I love it.
Then right after that, you're like, okay, that opens everywhere on Broadway and London, West End, everywhere. Phantom of the Library. Boom. What do you hit them up with after that? Phantom of the Bowling Alley, Phantom of the Bus Stop, Phantom of the Cafeteria. It's endless, is what I'm saying. There's too many opportunities. You could put a Phantom anywhere, is what I'm saying. Not just it's a Phantom. He's not just going to stay inside a building. If you're like this ethereal creature that can go through walls, or maybe he was just a man. I don't know how it actually worked. Was he a real ghost or was he a man? But the point is, Phantom of the Bowling Alley should be a real thing, right? Who's with me? Maybe change the pins.
I'm with you.
Works
Yeah,
the snack bar.
Yeah.
Phantom of the Bus Stop's got legs as well. Anyone else? Viewers at home.
I'm totally with you.
I'm getting some. I'm going to the audience for some support right here. I don't know if I'm getting it from you guys. Where would he grocery shop? See, David Wendy Gross says they say, where would he grocery shop? He's got to eat, right? The Phantom of the
grocery store. We're always shopping to find the special deals. It's
Check the
going to
flyer.
be a wonderful time.
Fan.
When I wear my mask.
Good, yeah. Yeah, but he wears the fancy. He wears one of these masks. No, it's a
Yeah, well, he has to wear one of these ones as well right now, right?
Good point.
Yeah.
Anywhere else? So yeah, we're still spitballing it, but I'm pretty sure it has legs. Phantom of the Library.
Or
you want to play Christine in the library?
Yeah, I was waiting for you to ask.
Yes.
do I play Raoul?
Dun, 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 dun. Ba, 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 ba. Ba, 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 ba. It's good. It flies everywhere. I know that's like sometimes when I have ideas, I don't need any other external validation. I just know, like, there's a knowing in me that is fucking gold. We just got to get Andrew Lloyd Webber's permission. I'm sure Andy Lloyd Webber is going to be fine with Phantom of the Bus Stop.
I'll change the heading again.
Yes. Yes. This has been our pitch meeting. We're going to take that one back to the drawing board. We're going to flush it out. We might bring that one back a little bit with some polished scenes. Yeah, that's good. I like it. That's guaranteed. It's guaranteed winner. All right. Some closing thoughts, Camille, from you. This podcast and Laughing Vikings really is all about turning delusions into reality. We're all dreamers. We're all in the arts industry. Can you give some advice? And maybe this is twofold advice for someone who is just starting out, like whether they're young or old, but wanting to get into acting / singing / performing. And or maybe there's people who are at some level in it where they're fully pro or somewhere in the middle, and they maybe feel stuck or they're looking to get to the next level. Can you give some advice to those categories of people that are watching and listening right now?
Yeah, I would say to anyone who feels stuck, the only way to unstick yourself is to create motion, because an object that is not in motion stays not in motion, but an object in motion stays in motion until it is stopped. So I would recommend, if you're feeling stuck, just switch things up. Like, for example, I was feeling just a little bit not stuck, but you get this antsy feeling. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna I'm gonna update my demo reel. I'm going to sign up for another acting class. I'm going to just do something different. If you're feeling stuck, then the only reason you're stuck is because you're keeping yourself stuck. So just switch things up. Even if it's not even acting related, just, take up a new hobby or do something different. Do something different at the gym. Whatever it is, surround yourself with different people. The only person who can get you unstuck, though, is you. But it's as simple as just like moving in a different direction. Just shake things up. Keep things interesting for yourself, because if you're just sitting at home and waiting for your agent to send you an audition, like, you gotta put in a bit more than that. So unstick yourself. And to anybody who is getting into it, my biggest piece of advice is just don't listen. Like, I just have this wonderful filter now where if anybody says anything to me along the lines of, and I actually found that because of this wall that I've put up, I don't hear it anymore. But I used, literally, people don't even bother to say it to me. But I used to hear so much stuff about, you're going to be a starving artist, and, artists never make it big. And, the percentage of people who actually make it. And honestly, I just don't listen to anybody who says that, because it's so useless. And I also love to look at people, inspiration is huge for me. So, for example, I watched the Taylor Swift documentary on Netflix, and I'm like, imagine if Taylor Swift just was like, no, I'm not that good. I shouldn't do it. What are the chances of me succeeding? And she's multi-billionaire, one of the biggest country pop artists of all time. But imagine if someone like Taylor Swift was just like, what are the chances? So, think like the way a celebrity would. Think like your idols. Think of taking a chance and going for it, and just honestly stop subscribing to anything negative and listening to people who are trying to stop you from living your dream, because they're just projecting their own fears onto you. So just put up a wall. And that would be my biggest advice.
Huge. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love it. That's excellent advice. Stop subscribing to negativity, but start subscribing to Laughing Vikings on all podcast network, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, everywhere. Yeah, there you go. And also, don't forget, if you're watching this and you are in the industry, tag an actor, comedian friend, creator friends, and tag us at Laughing Vikings. And we'll throw you in the bucket to win some prizes, some free audition sessions, some free comedy albums, free comedy tickets, maybe some acting workshops. One thing that you mentioned there about learning new skills and shaking it up, that applies to one of our acting coaches, Tom Todoroff. He often in class will say actors are professional. Really, the job is to be a professional human. So the more advanced you are in any things in your own life, whether it's new skills or new experiences, new languages, traveling, any new art, or like you were recently, didn't you learn like crocheting or needlework?
Yeah,
recently?
and I'm getting my driver's license.
There you go.
So,
yeah, now
yeah.
you can be in a scene where you're driving. Yeah, and that's a whole other story. I don't know if we have time for that, but you somehow
get into it
managed to
another time.
avoided your driver's license your whole life, and now you're going for it. So
Yeah.
kudos to you. We got a last minute joiner here. We got a yo Lars, what up, from Nick
Hi,
Hendrick
Nick.
here. Hey, Nicky boy, another actor as well here, friend of Laughing Vikings. Oh, Nick says to Camille, I'm your biggest fan. Or maybe he
Aw,
was talking
thanks,
to
Nick.
Brandon. Maybe he was talking to Brandon.
Or you.
Or maybe he was talking to me.
Me.
It's you, Camille.
Yes.
I
Thanks,
know.
Nick. Thank you, Nikki. All right. Anything else, or should we just steer this? Should Captain Lars steer this ship into the port?
Camille did give us our inspirational quote for the day and for the week. So I think we'll wrap this up by playing one of Camille's original songs, "Sober."
All right.
So this is Camille's song, "Sober."
I
Thank you.
lost my keys. I got kicked out. I dropped my ID. How do I get home now? Who was that guy? How many shots did he buy? Why did I think this was a good idea? Next day in bed with an aching head, wondering what I did, being a stupid kid. Check my phone, 12 missed calls, and I'm scared to look at Snapchat now. So I'd rather be sober, so I'm not in over my head. Oh, so I'd rather be sober, so I don't regret what I did. Sorry, not sorry, pass the bottle past me. No judgment here, just know I'd rather be in my right mind, in a good space. And at the end of the day, I just can't hold my alcohol. So I'd rather be sober, so I'm not in over my head. Oh, so I'd rather be sober, so I don't regret what I did. Too many times I've made mistakes, wish I could take it back, but there's no retakes. I hurt myself from the outside in, trying too hard to have fun and fit in. I wish I knew then what I know now, that kissing strangers doesn't make you love. So I'd rather be sober, so I'm not in over my head. Oh, so I'd rather be sober, so I don't regret what I said. I'm in a new place now, need to numb out. I learned to be happy without blacking out. It helps that I don't need to escape a reality that I've worked hard to create. Sober, so over the mess I make, the hangover. Oh, sober, so over the bad ideas. Why did he come over? So I'd rather be sober, so I'm not in over my head. Oh, so I'd rather be sober, so I don't regret what I said. So I'd rather be sober, so I'm not in over my head. And so I'd rather be sober, so I don't regret what I did.
Yes. Thank you, everyone.
So much.
That is episode 25. Be sure to follow at Miss Millie B and Brandon Knox and Laughing Vikings, Lars Classington. Comment, subscribe, do all the things. Like, comment, click there, click here, click there. Do all of that. And we'll see you again, same time next week, Mondays. We're going to do this on Mondays at 6, I believe. But it's every Monday. Maybe the time changes from time to time. And we do what we always do here is we clap our guests out of the studio. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Enjoy your night.
High five, high five, high five.